Hi there, my name is John Sanei. You are watching RISKAfrica TV, and I hope you enjoyed my interview. So I think what we've got to come to terms with is that we are moving into a new society. We're not just in fast forward from 2010. The very paradigms of business, society, religion, politics, and economics are crumbling. And the way we need to start dealing with this is not buttoning down and working harder on the skills we've learned already, but actually develop new skills, upgrade our software within who we are so that we can develop new skills. You've got to remember that through agricultural times, the most important tool we had as humans were our hands. In the industrial times, the most important tool we had were our heads. In the quantum time we're moving forward into now, the most important tool we have is curiosity and heart-led decision-making. And this becomes a very difficult thing to try and portray to a bunch of business people because people want to be more profitable, but they don't realize that profitability will change based on a new skill set, not doing what you always did yesterday. Urbanization is only a few decades old, and we come, definitely your childhood and my childhood and definitely our parents' lives and our grandparents' lives were all really based in villages and small towns. And these small villages and towns had a societal dogma and process based on the religion of the town as well as the way the society was built, based on the culture. We had massive levels of certainty and belonging, but very little freedom. And we yearned for this freedom, and now we have it. And now we have this new trend called the burden of choice with zero certainty. And so now what we're trying to do is trying to bring about certainty into a world that's totally uncertain. And because of that, we have high levels of anxiousness, high levels of drug abuse, high levels of all sorts of addictions, trying to suppress this anxiousness. But we don't realize that we can get rid of this anxiousness by healing parts of ourselves and our psyche and becoming more self-aware. And that becomes the most powerful tool we can have in the future. Sure, I think it's very difficult to have explained the internet to anybody in 1995. Just like it's almost impossible to explain blockchain until you actually start using it, like the internet. You didn't quite understand what you could do with it until you could start searching Google or connect with a friend on Facebook. What we're going to start seeing with blockchain is this ability for us to have ease of commerce. We can be able to engage with each other, do transactions in an instant. And the blockchain is all about creating the seamlessness. Just like we now can pick up WhatsApp and communicate with seamlessness, we'll be able to consume seamlessly. And so the example I used was the car of the future that I was privileged enough to be in San Francisco. And the car of the future has many sort of exponential technologies like networks and sensors, artificial intelligence, facial recognition, blockchain, etc., etc. And because of the blockchain aspect, the way I was engaging with this taxi was totally different to anything in the past. I didn't used to have to use a credit card or a cell phone or anything, just using voice recognition. So the taxi came to pick me up, and because of voice facial recognition, it picked up who I was through social media and said, "Hello, John." I said, "Hello, car." I got into the car, and the car said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to the airport." The car said $28.50. I transferred $28.50 into the car's account using blockchain technology, machine learning, and voice recognition. And when the car realized it had $28.50 in its account from me, it started moving towards the airport. Now, firstly, it's a petrifying situation to have nobody driving. But anyway, I got used to it eventually, and I started looking down at my calendar and realized I'm actually running late for my flight. I asked the car to go a little bit faster because I was now running late for my flight, and the car said it can't go faster. I mean, it's got to abide by the rules. But it did ask me for another $10, which I was a little bit confused about. But then as I transferred the $10 into the car's account, it then started connecting with every other car on the road with networks and sensors in it and giving them each $1 to get out the way so we can get to the airport quicker. Now, you understand that seamlessness of commerce is what we're going to be experiencing. It's a total just like ease of us transacting, whether it's for 1 cent or for $1 billion. And it's between us as humans or us and machines to machines. So blockchain is something that once the transaction's done and never can be undone, it's always in the public eye and it's not owned by anybody like the internet. So I think it's an incredible technology that's going to be changing the very face of us interacting with each other. Now, it's going to do one major thing that I didn't say in my keynote, is that the internet that we've been used to, we interacted with the internet. The internet 2.0, the internet will interact with us. It'll be smarter, more empathetic, will understand things about us that we don't even understand about ourselves, and we're giving us direction. And that's the major shift, that blockchain brings trust and ease in that process. So hindsight is you living in your memories. And that's quite clear. And if you're living in hindsight, you need to ask yourself a question. Are you living a life based on a set of memories of your past, or are you living a life based on the vision of your future? Are you in repetition, or are you looking at something new and building something new? Plain sight is people that don't believe in quantum science. They believe in Newtonian science, and Newtonian science is from the linear industrial world. We're moving into a quantum world, and in the quantum world, we have to take the responsibility for creating our reality. And in that process, quantum science is now proving that we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. We project this reality out into our eyes, into our reality. And if we're complaining and moaning about anything, we don't understand this privilege and responsibility we have. Insight are people with incredible levels of knowledge, but zero wisdom. They've got all the degrees, MBAs, PhDs, been to all the speakers, read all the books, but can't change their behavior based on what they've learned. It's called the expert problem. The more expert you are, or the more educated you are in a certain way of thinking, the less likely you are to adopt any new ways of thinking. And the world is full of people with insight. Foresight is about creating wisdom and curiosity as your main characteristics. Wisdom is letting go of your past by healing it. As Alan Watts says, the knowledgeable man has to learn something new every day, but the wise man has to unlearn something new every day. And curiosity is something we have innately in us as human beings. We are always curious as children, and then education slapped it out of us. And so there's no time for curiosity here. We all do algebra, geography, and history together because that's what the world requires. And so we have to go back to our childlike excitement about subjects that are only excitable to us. Combine that with wisdom, and you become dangerous because now you have foresight, giving you adaptability, flexibility, and optimism about the future. And now you become easy and excited and optimistic about what's coming. So we live in an age of hyper-transparency. And brands that are focused on the good of everybody in the supply chain as well as the consumer are winning. Because we can watch what's going on now. They can't keep behind closed doors. I mean, look at how many factory farms now have been exposed to the torture that's happening inside animals, with animals. And that was never something we even considered before. Because of this level of transparency, so many more people are now vegan and vegetarian, not because they don't want to eat meat, but just don't want to torture any animals. So this level of transparency creates an incredible opportunity for us to not only focus on profit like we've always done on a base of scarcity of the world we come from. Remember, the baby boomers are motivated by safety and security. That's the world they come from. So the whole economic system is built around their need states and their expectations. This new generation is always going to be about collaboration, creativity, flexibility, and impact. So these new generation are now building businesses that have profitability as the third tier. 1, employees. 2, environment and community. 3, consumers. And 4th, profitability. So I should have said 4th. So now what we have are these businesses that understand hyper-transparency. And because of hyper-transparency, they are becoming the most profitable. Because when you tap into the values of a business, price becomes secondary to your decision-making process. And so we have to realize that the paradigms of business are shifting. And if we don't upgrade our own software, we're going to be disrupted. Spend 70% of your time doing what you're doing right now, but spend 30% of your time getting ready for tomorrow. And slowly make that 60 and 40, 50 and 50, 40 and 60, and keep doing that so that slowly and gradually you start moving into the new world. There's no silver bullet. The silver bullet is accretion. Minute by minute, moment by moment, rituals that become habits, that become behaviors, that become your personality. So if you're not changing your rituals to expose yourself to the future, you will be disrupted.